أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the most merciful, all praise is due to Allah, and may His peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I begin by greeting my brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And as I always say, it is good to be in the presence of good people. And inshallah, every time we get together on a happy occasion where we obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we get to know each other better.
You can use this one as well.
And also appreciate the invitation, appreciate the work that is done by our brothers and sisters, be it here at the center or be it at the people who are taking care of our brothers and sisters in the refugee camps. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless them, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all their efforts, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And before I get into my topic, let me just begin by saying that the way that we measure the success of any of our events should not be based on the number of people who attend the event. As we have been beautifully taught, that one time a very wise man, a sage, was invited to come and speak at an event. And when he showed up at the event, the number of people who were there was a very small number. And the organizers were disappointed that where are all the people? We were expecting a lot more people. And the wise man knew what was going through their head. So he said, brothers and sisters, he said, do not be disappointed by your numbers. We are not looking for numbers amongst our faithful. We are looking for faith amongst our numbers. See, because change never took place because the majority wanted it. Change always took place because there was a committed minority behind it. And that committed minority is the one that brought about the change, be it secular, be it religious, any kind of change, very rarely, almost unheard of. It was never the desire of the majority. Maybe the majority wanted a change, but it was always a committed minority that led the effort. So these events are successful because we had them, not because a lot of people showed up. So please, inshallah, do appreciate the fact that we are having this event. And then to get into our topic, the whole notion of identity. Because remember, the way that we carry ourselves in this world, those who are around us, is directly related to how we identify. And I'm sorry if I tend to be more exact, just talking to my brothers and sisters, Eritrean brothers and sisters. For the longest time, there was one continuous identity that we have had. And that is the idea of being a refugee. You went to the Sudan and you were a refugee. You went somewhere else and you were a refugee. Maybe you came here to Europe and you're a refugee. You went somewhere in North America or in Australia and you are a refugee. That is not necessarily all of our identity. That is part of who we are. It tells part of the story, but it does not tell the entire story of that individual. And when you look into the Quran, the label of a refugee isn't all that bad. One of my favorite stories, there is this very short dialogue that takes place between Musa alayhi salam and the righteous man in Madian. It said that Musa alayhi salam fled the Pharaoh. Like many of our Eritrean brothers and sisters who are fleeing the Pharaoh nowadays. And when you flee a Pharaoh, you're usually looking for a safe haven. You are looking for somewhere safe to go to. And I love the response of the old man. You know, the sisters tell Musa alayhi salam, وَأَبُونَا شَيْخٌ كَبِيرٌ, our father is an elderly man. And then the father invites Musa alayhi salam to come over. And then the Quran tells us something. It says, فَلَمَّا قَصَّ عَلَيْهِ الْقَصَصِ. And then when Musa alayhi salam narrated to the man his story, the story of the refugee who is fleeing Fir'aun, running away from Fir'aun, the man said something remarkable. The man made a statement where every refugee wants to hear that statement. As a refugee, you're running away, the Pharaoh is after you. And then you go and you tell your story, and somebody makes that statement. And what does the man say to Musa alayhi salam? لا تخف. لا تخف. نجوت من القوم الظالمين. He said, do not be afraid. Indeed, right now, you are safe of the oppressive people. Wallahi, if I had a choice, I would hire this man to be the one who is in charge of the affairs of the refugees. Because he spoke the language that every refugee wants to hear. لا تخف. Don't be afraid. نجوت من القوم الظالمين. You are safe in our midst. You are safe amongst us. لا تخف. Don't be afraid. And what that does is that it relaxes the anxiety of the individual who's been running away. It calms them down, because now they don't need to continue to run anymore. They've been told, don't be afraid. You are safe at this point. Don't be afraid. And what was nice also about what the man said, unlike the Pharaoh. See, what the Pharaoh was teaching is that he wanted to dictate the identity. But this old man, he didn't say, don't be afraid as long as you become like us. Don't be afraid as long as you behave like us. Don't be afraid of any of that. We are not going to ask for any of this in exchange. But why is this crucial? Because see, when you look into identity, especially for people like ourselves, remember that there are two elements within the society that control identity. There is what we call the owners of the culture, and then there are the belongers to the culture. Owners of the culture are, the natural citizens who've been here, who speak the language and who dictate what are the values of this culture. And then the refugees, they come in the hopes that they also have that sense of belonging. But usually, the belongers of the culture, or the owners of the culture, have a much higher say in who is in and who is out. By the way, are you okay hearing me? Can you hear me? Okay. Sisters can also hear us?
Now it's over.
Okay. So the two elements. There are the owners of the culture, and then there are those who are attempting to be part of the culture. But the belongers to the culture are always at the mercy of the owners of the culture, because at any given minute they can be told, go back to where you came from. You are no longer welcome in this place. You are not part of us. So what happens is, refugees, and again, I'm not just talking about Eritrean refugees, I'm just talking about refugees in general. Like I said, we're always confused about who we are. Please don't mind babies crying, man. That's it. It should be music to our ears. And if he wants the microphone, we'll give him the microphone as well. Somebody once said, he said, man, I love kids and I love them to death. That's why I want to kill them. Okay, never mind. So now what happens is, so you have this dynamic that is going on all the time. The owners of the culture versus the belongers of the culture. I'll give you a quick example using myself as an example. I can never be perceived as an owner of the culture. See, the minute people hear me speak, they immediately say, you have an accent. A beautiful accent, alhamdulillah. You have an accent. Where are you from? See, now the idea of you have an accent, where are you from? You are immediately implying what? I am not from here. I am not a belonger to this place. And it doesn't matter how long you live, you'll always be asked that question. You look different. You speak different. Where are you from? Which is a joke, for people to explain where they come from. But sometimes it also reflects the idea that you are not one of us. Where are you from? Now, for a believer, for a Muslim, see, a Muslim is what we call a universal citizen. Wherever you go, there is that sense of belonging. And the most beautiful slogan, in order to, this notion of asserting our citizenship, is what Isa alayhi salam said. Now you've got to love this. Maryam alayhi salam brings Isa to her people, and they ask Maryam, where did you get this baby from? We know you to be a chaste woman. Your father was a good man. Your mother is a good woman. Where did this baby come from? فأشارت إليه. So Maryam alayhi salam pointed to the babe in the cradle. So you ask him, or he's going to tell you. قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا? They said, how do we speak to a child in the cradle, to a babe in the cradle? Then Isa alayhi salam introduces himself. And what does he say? قال إني عبد الله. He said, I am the servant of Allah. آتاني الكتاب. He has given me the scripture. آتاني الكتاب. وجعلني نبيا. And he has designated me as a prophet, as a messenger to you. And then he says something beautiful. He said, وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. And he made me a man of blessings wherever I may be. Wherever I may be, I am a man of blessings. And this is what we call a universal citizen. مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. Wherever I go, I bring blessings with me. In other words, you want to be welcomed, you want a sense of belonging, you want people to open their doors and their arms and their gates. He said that, what do you bring? What do you bring in? Your presence, how does it make our country, our society a better place? I say, in my case, remember this, Mubarakan Aynama Kunt. A man of blessings that benefits the people around me wherever I may be. That makes us universal citizens, ideal citizens, people who are going to be welcomed wherever we may be. أينما كنت. And it's a lot of little things that makes us that blessed person. And I'm just going to speak a little bit frankly here. See, refugees are always perceived as people who are continuously taking and never contributing. By the way, this is only partially true. It is not true all the time. Initially that may be the case, but eventually refugees actually do give a lot back. But that is the perception that people have about refugees generally speaking. They're just here to exploit the system. They're here to receive all the help. They're here to just continuously be getting. So now the perception that people have is these people are not giving anything in return. And these are the type of images and perceptions that are being sold about us. But where we want to make a difference, because remember, a person who is perceived as continuously being taken eventually you don't even feel good about yourself. Even though it may not be true, but the perception that people have about you is not a healthy perception. So what we want to do is that we want to make sure that we become that ideal citizen. Maybe this is going to be temporary, and inshallah, Ya Rabbi, it is temporary, and one day we go back to where we truly feel that this is our home, Ya Rabbi al-Alameen. Or be it permanent, but we want to make sure that people, when they see us, they can say, these people are good people to have around us. That makes people feel better about themselves, and also it makes that idea of belonging easier. There is